2016. That was alright, wasn't it? I thought that was a decent year. Pretty good. Hello, all the punch-drunk philosophers out there. I am Adam Reel, coming to you from Nottingham, England. Joining me this week on the show, Dr. Tony Rosati. How are you today, sir?
Very well. Started trying to stay warm on the shores of frozen Lake Erie, United States of America.
Buffalo, New York, for anybody who's trying to track him down right now.
Please don't.
He's medically qualified. You can send him like pictures of rashes and stuff.
Yeah, sure. Let's go. Might as well.
And in Birmingham, the United Kingdom, also, Ben Sinfield. How are you today?
I'm good. It's not too chilly here. It's a bit colder. But, yeah, I'm enjoying my sober January. No alcohol.
Oh God, you have to mention that every fucking time. Yeah.
No,
All right.
it's been like festive. I don't think I mentioned that to you once.
Being sober is the new like doing CrossFit, isn't it? Like,
Since I bought into that one so bad. Haven't they? I don't know. I just feel like I've done something now. You know? It's like,
Well, you didn't want to become vegan like him.
I'm not that stupid.
okay, that's So 2016 in MMA. That was pretty good, right? I had a fun year. It started off UFC 195, Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler, sick card, ending in UFC 207, and the final stamp in the Ronda Rousey era. So, celebrating Tony right there.
Yes.
It has been a fun year. A lot of upsets in general throughout the world. In general, the world zeitgeist is, fuck, anything can happen. This is awesome. To me, anyway. We will go over a quick rundown of what we think our best of 2016 was, and then we'll look in each division, predict who will be the champion next year, who will be their biggest threat to that champion, so basically a number 2 pick. And then our one to watch in that division for 2017. Okay, let's get into it right away. Our best of 2016. Let's begin with fight of the year. My initial pick was Condit Lawler because that was so good. My favourite fight overall was definitely Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw. But fight of the year has to go to Cub Swanson, Doo Ho Choi for me. Cub Swanson, Doo Ho Choi at the UFC 206. Just insane. Tony, you saw it live. You can't have any other pick but this, right?
That's absolutely correct. I have 3 fights.
Okay.
I'll run the top 3. Choi versus Cub at 206 is, for me, absolutely fight of the year. My number 2 would have been Lawler Condit, and then my number 3 was actually Woodley and Wonderboy.
Ooh, good choice.
So I was actually, that was, for me, that was fun to watch, personal reasons. If anybody knows, I'm a UFC fantasy junkie, so Wonderboy is on my team. I'm a little disappointed in the draw. We can get in that argument, I'm sure we have already, but Choi versus Cub, my God, and just to be there too, I think cements it even more for me.
Ben, your pick?
Oh, my pick. So I would say as an overall fight, I'm probably going to have to go for the Choi Swanson fight. I thought that particularly like the final round and from probably round 2 onwards was probably the best round of the year as well. I think the fight, to be honest with you, like the first round in the Choi fight didn't have it had quite a quick pace. You have the frenetic action. I think if you look at it as a whole fight, if we're talking like consist like in terms of the technical things, we were just talking off the air as well, kind of looking at Cruz when he fought Dillashaw as well, like for a technical battle. Like it just depends what I'm looking at, but for an overall fight, particularly round and the finish, that crazy finish in the Swanson Choi like with the cartwheel kick. I think for just throwing stuff like it's a video game, that's got to be my fight. So I can't really disagree on that one too much. But yeah, technical battles, I'm going to Cruz, and I'd say kind of, again, looking at Woodley Wonderboy, just for really close fights. If you're talking about a good fight, we're showing a real range of technical MMA.
Okay, knockout of the year. My runner-up for this was Yair Rodriguez on Andre Fili. You know, the jumping switch kick at UFC 197. That was fucking mental. Came out of nowhere. But yeah, by far another one you saw live, Tony. Lando Venata on John McDessie. That wheel kick. This guy fascinates me. Lando Venata. He came up with this really awkward, shuffly style. Almost like he couldn't properly, accurately strike, and then all of a sudden, bang! Brutal, so cool. That is my knockout of the year, 100%. Lando Venata on John McDessie, UFC 206. Dr. Tony, what is yours?
I can't disagree with you at all. And in fact, Lando Venata, spoiler alert, is going to be involved in 2 more of our best ofs in some aspect. So Lando Venata over McDessie, absolutely my runner-up. Yair is actually number 3. I have a top 3 for everything. He's number 3. Number 2, just for the brutality of it, Yoel Romero with the knee to Weidman.
Oh, yeah.
So then the flying knee does it for me. That was number 2, but Venata, Jesus. The heel kick was phenomenal. I guess love when he falls backwards into grace like he's falling in a swimming boat.
Ben?
Oh, my new favourite for knockout of the year now. We've got to go Amanda Nunes. As my new favourite pick. But you guys used the Venata one's incredible. I thought like the Romero one I'd say as well, it could have been it being in the third round, and like the significance of it, I think was really, really important. So looking at ones where we've just seen people get totally outgained, decimated with the magnitude of them, I'm going to have, like, I know I've got a bit of stick for not being on the McGregor bandwagon too much. McGregor Alvarez for me, in terms of
its significance and magnitude.
What he did, and repetitive blows. It was a case of, it wasn't just a knockout, it was several like knockdowns and just letting. Alvarez was literally a sitting duck. He was sat there at point. So for me, that's my, that would be the one I would have gone. I'd probably gone Romero, but to add a bit of spice in that, I'm going to say McGregor against Alvarez.
Good choice. Okay, submission of the year. My runner-up on this was Ben Rothwell's go-go choke on Josh Barnett. For the significance of tapping Josh Barnett, who's widely considered one of the greatest submission artists at heavyweight on the planet. And also the go-go choke, he used it before on Matt Mitrione, and it's just an incredible, beautiful piece of jiu-jitsu. It's really fascinating. But my number 1 submission of 2016 is Damian Maia on Carlos Condit. Just in terms of technical precision, perfection, brilliant. Carlos Condit is an exceptional fighter, not one to get submitted very easily. Damian Maia's game has always been take the guy down, submit him with a choke, ASAP, and that's exactly what he did this fight. Everybody knew what was going to happen, and Carlos Condit had no way to defend it. Damian Maia just God-level jiu-jitsu. God-level jiu-jitsu. Dr. Tony, I'm sorry for not going to you first, Ben, but this routine is going okay, right? Working for everybody?
Fine with me either way. So, I actually have the Rothwell go-go choke is up there in mine. It was kind of 1-2, but now it moved to 3. And I'm putting Tate in for my runner-up. And the reason being is because the absolute significance of that. Ben talked about significance and impact and everything. It was just amazing what she did. You could argue she was losing that fight. Absolutely. And she was losing that bout up until then. And the fact that she pulled out the rear naked and the way she held on to it was quite remarkable too. When she sunk in, it was done. My winner, though, is going to be Lando Venata is going to be in the conversation. What a glorious debut for him. And it proved to all of us that he can hang with the best. But Tony Ferguson ends up getting him with the Darsh. And for me, who does not love a good Darsh?
That's a good choke.
So that's why I have Ferguson as my number 1. Going off the books too, because I did research like you guys did, I'm sure, and all you hear about is home and TNs. Those are the 2 you hear, and sure, they're significant, and I understand it. I like to delve away from that a little bit, and I like to take a little sleeper pick. But Ferguson's Darsh was big beauty. So Tony Ferguson.
Ben?
My runner-up and winner were both on the same card, and it was UFC 196. So my
Gone for the trendy picks.
Just because both of them were come from behind submission, essentially. Diaz against McGregor, and also Tate against home. Tate against home would be my number one, and then I'm going to go Diaz and McGregor. And I think the reason I thought the Diaz and McGregor one, I appreciate it hurt him already, but it was such a slick transition, the way he mounted McGregor, then took his back, then sunk it in, and it was almost effortless. So, yeah, I'm going to go for those two as my top two submissions.
You're such a trendy bastard.
I'm trying to switch things up. Normally, I'm like...
No, that's honestly,
Fair enough.
argue those.
Okay, card of the year. I'm going to go for UFC 205. The simply like the historical narrative of it being the first event in New York, Conor McGregor capturing 2 titles, the insane title fight between Stephen Thompson and Tyron Woodley. Nurmagomedov was on that card as well, beating down Michael Johnson. We had the Romero flying knee knockout. Misha Tate retired. There was Jacek Kowalkiewicz. Just great moments all around. Just great moments. It was a wonderful night, UFC 205, and for me, yeah, that's my card of the year. Dr. Sony?
Well, again, a little bit biased, but for me, it was something that was a roller coaster of emotions. First, the card was okay, then it sucked, then it got better, then there was rumors about Legend returning, and that didn't transpire, then there were rumors about Diaz returning, and that didn't happen, but all in all, then you have some injuries, then you have Rashad Evans on this fight, then you don't, then you have, so mine was UFC 206, the one it was at, turns out to be one of the dynamite cards of the year. I mean, how can you not go wrong? You had a title fight, Holloway and Pettis, Holloway establishing himself in the division, which we all knew. Cowboy and Brown, can't go wrong. We just aforementioned Choi and Swanson, as well as even from the first fight, Makovsky and Ortiz was a back and forth contest a little. I mean, when you start off that with 2 kind of middle of the road contenders at one point in their division, there were 6 finishes in all, and 2 of them were split decisions. So it was good. Plus, you see younger guys that are coming in a little bit at and Zerganov. I was just Khabibulov was in there too, and the favorite, the Viking, the male make, was phenomenal on that as well. So for me, it's UFC 206. A card, and I think significance because I was there, and because Toronto, Canada's an interesting place. They kind of get on it a little bit. They're very humorous at times, and it was kind of nice being an American. Don't get me wrong, brothers to the north, I love you dearly, but it was kind of fun to see most of the Canadians lose. Just have, except for the exception of Aubin Mercier, looked phenomenal as well too. It was kind of satisfying, but it was fun. I mean, it was good atmosphere, and can't go wrong with it. So UFC 206 in my estimation, plus the fact that everybody went into it like, this card's kind of crap. Like, I don't want to go now, GSP this, GSP that. And look what happened. It turned out to be a monster.
Very, very good answer. Ben?
I'm going to say UFC 200. And I'll say that because I've not been that excited for a card. And I love seeing close fights. I love seeing good battles. I thought the Aldo Edgar fight was fantastic. And that was 4th fight down on card. We saw so many returning stars as well. I thought we had, looking at news as well, just completely take out Tay. I'm going with some slightly different ones here because, I thought it was but I'm always going last, and I'm making sure I give a bit of the mix into it. I'm thinking for me, I thought UFC 200 was fantastic, but the only problem with it, I would have liked a bit more. It was a very stacked card, but I feel like it was a little bit tarnished with Lesnar Hunt and the aftermath of that, and I also feel like there were quite a lot. I think they got to an absolute storm, lots of finishes. Then we just saw plenty of decisions until we saw Velasquez do some horrible things to Brown.
Yeah,
which was again, that's part of it. I saw that. I was watching that card, and I saw Velasquez, and then I saw Aldo, and I thought, we're seeing like the almost resurgence potentially of two great fighters. So that really sticks. And we had Anderson Silva. You've got to, it's
yeah. Anytime he makes an appearance, it's good.
Yeah, we gave some.
And we had a great night for that as well. That we had a party for UFC 200. A lot of fun.
Fantastic, yeah. Fantastic.
My runner-ups, I guess, would be UFC 198 in Curitiba, where Stipe Miocic won the title. That was a great card. UFC 206, obviously, and UFC 199 as well, where Bisping captured the title. There was an insane fight between Max Holloway and Ricardo Lamas on that fight as well, on that card as well, and Dustin Poirier getting a KO. Brilliant stuff all round. Okay, Ben, do you want to go second another time, or do you enjoy going third?
No, I'm fine.
You good third? Okay.
How you want?
Good in third slot.
I can go, yeah, whatever, mate. I'll go second, I'll go third,
All right, cool. Male fighter of the year. I don't have runner-ups for this. I mean, lots of people had a very, very good year, but Conor McGregor, 2016, year of Conor McGregor. Even after coming off that loss from Diaz, he's completely recaptured that fire that was with him. The McGregor era. This is the McGregor era. It's back. As soon as he lost to Diaz, people thought, oh, that's over. As soon as he loses, it's over. But he's clawed his way back. Now he holds 2 belts, 2 consecutive belts as well, which is a record achievement. History was made. It's the most captivating and money-making and ticket-selling storyline, really, as you would, for lack of a better word, in the UFC right now. So, yeah, 2016, year of Conor McGregor. Dr. Tony?
I have 4 fighters that I head down to.
Okay.
I have time for both the runner-up, and I have a tie for the winner because I could not decide.
Fair.
All right, so I'm going to I want to be, thorough. My tie for runner-up goes to number 1, Michael Bisping. 3 fights, 3 wins. He beat Rockhold for the title, avenged Hendo. He also beat a legend in Silva. My also tie with him is Cody Garbrandt. 4-0, 3 knockouts. 2 of them were performance or fight of the night, and 1 was the decision win against Dominic Cruz. So the 2 guys it brings me to the fighters of the year are tied. Stipe Miocic,
Still so.
3-0, 3 knockouts. And my fighter, if I had to pick out of the 2, would be Cowboy Cerrone. The fact of the matter, he's knocked out both 4, or he subbed one guy, Alex Oliveira, and he knocked out the rest. Also, performance of the night went to him in 3 out of the 4. So, Cowboy and Stipe are my fighters of the year.
Ben?
My runner-up, the fighter of the year, is Conor McGregor.
Okay.
Because I
leave him out. I had to leave him out. Sorry.
Don't worry, I've got plenty of Conor McGregor to make up for it.
I think kind of avenging the loss was pretty incredible, and all, the way he did it, I think as well looking at, that was an incredible fight in its own right, but then thinking as well how he captured the lightweight strap as well is pretty amazing. I can totally appreciate Stipe with the 3 knockouts in his own, but with Stipe, I know McGregor lost, he came back and avenged the loss. I think Stipe at heavyweight has done a lot, but I just think Bisping, for me, has edged it to be number 1. So I got Michael Bisping as number 1, and the reason I got Michael Bisping as number 1 is I think that considering he pretty much got knocked out or very nearly stopped against Anderson Silva and then came back and won that fight, I think being able to beat Rockhold as well, a fight he's already lost on such short notice, in a way he's never won before, and I think the way that he was able to beat Dan Henderson as well, considering he got absolutely, he was hit hard a couple of times in that fight. So yeah, I've got Michael Bisping. That's not like a patriotism thing. That's just kind of looking at him and as well being, 37-year-old guy who's been around forever, been fighting elite people forever. I think the fact that he still looks as if he's kind of improving shows that he's a real student of the game, and he's really really going to be in a good position, at least to go out hopefully on a high. But yeah, I'm going to have Bisping as number one.
Okay, cool. Female fighter of the year. Again, with male fighter, I don't think I have quite a clear one. I don't really have runners up. I mean, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she had a very, very good year. But Amanda Nunes has headlined two of the biggest pay-per-views of the year and done exceptionally well. So can we really dispute Amanda Nunes, female fighter of the year? Dr. Sony?
Not for me at all. I agree with you 100%. Nunez and Joanna's a distant second. Right? So yes, Nunez.
Ben?
Yeah, exactly the same vote for me. Exactly the same vote for me.
Okay, cool.
I think the way Nunez has done it as well.
Yeah, same.
She's been starch. So
Yeah. Okay, upset of the year. I think this is another obvious one. Michael Bisping over Luke Rockhold, UFC 199. That made me scream. Like, I got up and audibly screamed my lungs out. That was insane to see. Anybody got something different? Old Stony?
I have Bisping too. I have Moreno as my runner-up against Lewis Wolf.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, but it's pretty distant. I mean, he was minus 900. Rockhold was minus 900 in fight time. That shows you something. I mean, that's absolutely Bisping. It's not. I was ecstatic too.
Ben?
Yeah, same boat. I think maybe if for an upset in how shocked I was, or my shock of the year, I'd go Garbrandt over Cruz, because I'm just amazed by how he essentially dominated a pound-for-pound grade. But yeah, easily Bisping, looking at the betting lines as well.
Okay, good. So, and the last thing we have here for our best of 2016 is our most important news of 2016, I guess. I have Conor McGregor taken off UFC 200. I would put the sale of the company on, but I don't think I'm really educated enough to speak on its effects and what effects it will have in the sport. And I've not really seen that many effects that I care about, to be honest. So focusing on the fights, and it was Conor McGregor being taken off UFC 200. That really re-established the relationship between him and the UFC. Set that kind of reminder that no, you're not bigger than the company. When he captured the featherweight belt, everybody was talking in terms of, oh shit, if he captures the lightweight title too, is he bigger than the company? Will this be like boxing? Will he have his own McGregor promotions? And this kind of like waxed that back down to reality for me. So that was my most important news of 2016. Dr. Tony?
There's so many. It's tough to narrow down one. I mean, the sale. Conor McGregor, Conor McGregor, how he's bigger than UFC. That's not mine though. I mean, you saw his far reach and it's much more involvement in the UFC. We can argue about the free agency, the trending fighters, how they're unhappy, which established this former the union. That came later on. So for me, and it's on a personal level too, but it's a long time coming. The legalization in New York State. So for me, that's the biggest news for me, because it's been personally a long time coming. It's also been a big deal. A bunch of corrupt politicians, and that's what happens when you get them out of office and the right people, spark right. So for me, personally, and I think, it's ridiculous that out of all the states that have a sanctioning body, athletic commission, New York State was the state that it was illegal in. And through many years, jumping through hoops and the legislation, they couldn't get on the House floor every time they had it up for vote, and it always got defeated. The same parks and whatever tourism bullshit thing that we go and finally went through. So for me, it's the legalization in New York State.
Ben?
So for me, my favourite news story of the year was when, this was mainly for a WTF factor in what was happening. So when John Jones got off the car, a couple of hours later, there was a call, and Anderson Silva stepped up to fight. And I think, for me, aside from legalization, aside from that, I think that considering, like a 41-year-old guy, I think he just had surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and he literally walked in to fight the light heavyweight champion, and then ended up giving him quite a very a good run. At least he hung a bit.
Yeah.
He didn't get totally dominated. That's my story of the year. Because
Yeah, that's a very good pick. I don't think we appreciate the insanity of that enough.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think as well. Like, I was listening to something the other day, and Chael Sonnen was saying that like sometimes great fighters, when people aren't as on their side anymore, they seem to want to reach out towards the end of their careers. They want to do more for their fans. They want to do this kind of good guy thing to more of an extent. And I think that because I think Anderson weighed in at something like 196 pounds or 197 pounds. Like, he did come in significantly under the limit. And yeah, I think that. So for me, that was kind of like a bit of a room for not quite a comeback, but it was quite significant. He did not have to do that. So that's my to throw a different one in. That was probably the story that I thought, wow, that's pretty incredible.
Okay, that's a good one. I like it. Okay, here we go then. We're moving on to divisional analysis. This is going to be a fun little time capsule to look at in New Year's 2017 to 2018. See how accurate we're going to be in our predictions, and just sort of see how things looked at the turn of the year. On the note, I'm going to be using the phrase "this time last year" a couple of times, and I know it's currently January the 8th, 9th, I don't know, something. But when I say that, thank you. When we say that, we are meaning from January 1st. So we're talking about 2016 purely. Okay, that's all cool. Straight up. Let's start with the heavyweight division. The current champ is Stipe Miocic, and this time last year it was Fabricio Verdun. The title has been up for grabs twice in 2016. Back in May 14th, UFC 196, Stipe Miocic defeats and captures the title from Fabricio Verdun with a first-round knockout. Then he defends September 10th, UFC 203, against Alistair Overeem with another first-round knockout. Okay, champ this time next year. I was going to go with Stipe Miocic to retain all the way through it and have this guy as my biggest threat. But I'm going to make it interesting and turn this around, actually. Champ this time next year of the UFC heavyweight division will be Stefan Struve. I see it happening. He's good. If you look down, the contendership is wide open. Cain Velasquez is out. Fabricio Verdun is fighting. I don't think he's got a fight scheduled, but he's just come off Travis Brown, and it was a quick knockout from Stipe Miocic, so I don't think that'll be sold anytime soon. End of January, Stefan Struve fights Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos, aging, sort of on the end of his career. Stefan Struve really kind of is getting into his game. I know people always say it about Struve, oh, he's finally finding his range, but I think he really is this time. So I can see him taking that, and with range strikers, we've seen Stipe have a little bit of trouble. Miocic was able to clock him a couple of times, and I see Struve having a decent shot. He did knock out Stipe Miocic not that long ago, September something 2012 in Nottingham, the greatest city in God's green earth. So, yeah, that's my pick for the champ this time next year. Dr. Tony, who's your champ this time next year of the heavyweight division?
I'm going to retain. I'm going to say Stipe is going to retain the belt. I don't see anybody take it. However, there's an up-and-comer that I think is going to be his biggest threat. The only reason I don't think he takes it yet is because I don't think he's going to get a fight within the next year. But
That's right.
I've been very impressed with Francis,
Hey, you gave away your pick too early. We're going in order.
What?
You gave away... Spoiler. No, we're only doing champ next year. We'll come back to it.
That's my guess.
No, don't give spoilers.
I thought you were saying.
Okay. All right, Ben, you're champion.
I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Next year, Brock Lesnar. So my champ this next year, it's a bit. I guess I think JDS. I think he beat Miocic.
You think he'll beat Struve as well?
Again, and I think so. I think the Struve fight. I've just got a feeling that JDS is probably going to catch him. I think he's going to be quite quick. Struve for me interestingly, I would also like to have as one to watch to a certain extent, but I think things that happen is I think they're going to fight, and I think it's going to be a bit of a war. I think Struve's going to lose it, potentially by decision. I don't know if JDS will necessarily finish it. I think Struve's going to give him a good fight. But yeah, Francis, we're not doing the next one. But I think JDS is going to beat Stipe, and I think if Kane can, I think JDS beats Kane and JDS beats him again. So yeah, I think JDS is done it.
Okay, we'll go through our biggest threat then. My biggest threat is Stipe Miocic. Then is the biggest threat to Stefan Struve. Dr. Sony?
I'm going to go with Stefan Struve now.
You think he beats JDS then?
Who's that? Struve?
Struve, you think he beats JDS?
It's tough. I can see it happening, yes. It's not going to matter. Francis Gano is going to walk through either of them. It's the point. So Francis Gano is a beast that you talked about, like somebody that, Stipe's, a little bit suspect, but somebody that can throw. He can throw. I mean, all of his wins have come by finish. 5, I think. 5 by knockout, 4 by submission. His last fight, he won by submission. I think if they play it right, he's got a good matchmaking, and I think if you throw him the Bulls, he might have another issue where he just got the way he's progressing right now. He's a bad man. So I don't know if he can beat Stipe yet. I gotta see him in a couple more fights. But that's and I had it actually left. I had actually, but that's going to be too soon. So I have
And Gano is your one to watch as well.
Yes.
Okay. Then your biggest threat and your one to watch.
Biggest threat. I'm thinking. Are we talking about currently? My biggest threat is going to be JDS. I think he's going to.
Yeah, that's fair.
Miocic, I think, given that he's already done it, I think he'd be my.
Well, I guess biggest threat is to your champ. That's how we do it.
Champ.
Yeah. So the person you're picking for this time next year champ, which you think is JDS.
So biggest threat's going to have to be Kane if he can actually come back.
Yeah.
Get a title fight somehow. What I think happens is, say for example, Kane is injured for a while and he can't fight, and then JDS becomes champ. If, say for example, he could fight maybe Miocic, looking maybe towards the summer. He does that. It's feasible. They could book a heavyweight fight at the end of the year. And I think that if there is any injuries, as we can see so often at heavyweight, particularly for high caliber bouts, I feel like Kane would get that call to step in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's kind of a triangle, I guess, with those guys. Yeah,
it's kind of hard with Cain Velasquez. Because when he's in shape, he can do fucking wheel kicks and demolish guys. But back injuries are no joke. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually never see him again, considering the extent of surgeries he's needed to have and where they are. It's not. But yeah, a heavyweight title. The contendership. There's not really many in the top rankings that have a significant case right now or anytime soon. So that's why I think the JDS Stefan Struve fight, is the one that's going to determine the next number one contender. Who is your one to watch then?
In terms of prospects?
Yeah. The one who you think is going to have a good 2017?
I think Francis Ngannou will.
Okay.
Again, he's my one watch there. Other than I can't.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to see another Hunt.
Yeah, he fights over him next. I think he's going to knock over him out. But okay, yeah. So both of you are going with Francis Ngannou for your one to watch. He did cross my mind, but my one to watch in the heavyweight division for 2017 is John Jones. I think he's going to return, and I think he's going to return as a heavyweight. You laugh at that, Dr. Tony?
No, I can't wait until we talk about the next division.
But yeah, I think John Jones is out of light heavyweight, and I think just in general, coming to a division with Anthony Johnson in doesn't look very promising. I think he'll figure not cutting weight, not coming off his whole bodybuilding thing would be better for him as a heavyweight. So that's I think he could have a few decent wins theoretically, but we'll see. So, should we move on to the light heavyweight division? Boom. All right, light heavyweight division. This time last year, it was Daniel Cormier. And this time this year, it is Daniel Cormier still. That's not saying much, though, really, because the last time we actually saw the light heavyweight title defended was October 2nd, 2015. UFC 192 against Alexander Gustafsson. Since then, in 2016, we've not had any light heavyweight title fights other than the interim fight between John Jones and Ovin St. Peru. And of course, John Jones was stripped. We've had a bunch scheduled in this year. UFC 197, then Cormier was injured. UFC 200, then Jones was pulled off the card for drugs. And then UFC 206, and Cormier's injured. Currently, Anthony Johnson is considered number one contender. Daniel Cormier is something knee injuries. So there's no official announcement for when the next title fight is going to be. So, okay, champion this time next year of the UFC light heavyweight division. I'm calling it to be Anthony Johnson. I think Cormier's got a very good chance of holding him off, but I think he's at that stage. He's quite old as an athlete, and you do reach those parts where you just start dropping off. Cormier is very, very good, but Anthony Johnson is so threatening, so powerful, so intimidating, and fine-tuned his game around defensive wrestling as well. I think he'll be able to keep Cormier off and knock him out and keep the title until the end of 2017. Dr. Tony?
I'm going to go with John Jones.
Why?
I think John Jones is going to come back and he's going to win it. I still think he's the most dominant in light heavyweight. I don't like him very much, but you'll see when I have his biggest threat why. But no, with John Jones for me is I think he's easily I think he's smart enough to in the octagon he's smart. Outside, not so much. But yeah, I think he's going to beat Rumble. Honestly, I think Rumble's going to take him from Cormier, and then Jones is going to take it from him. So.
Fair enough. Ben?
My champ has got to be Cormier still. I don't think Cormier is going to retain the belt if he does defend it against Johnson. Whether we do see that fight come into play, but I think the state of the light heavyweight division at the moment, I feel like we're kind of seeing a lot of we can see a lot of fights not happening. But yeah, I think Cormier will beat Johnson in the when they fight, if they fight. But
okay, what about John Jones?
What about John Jones? I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to make it back this year.
Okay, if he does come back, do you think he can beat Daniel Cormier?
I'm not too sure now. I think with the amount of time off, and I think looking at him against Peru and stuff, I think just thinking about the kind of the mental barriers he has to overcome. In addition to the fact that Cormier, I think this has motivated Cormier a lot, and despite Cormier's injury, he would have been training like a crazy man. So I'm not too sure. I think given what I'm thinking is looking at Jones with Cormier, some may argue that he was even in his prime and could have peaked a little earlier, potentially, if this affects him a lot. And we saw prime John Jones fight Cormier. And, it was a fairly competitive fight. But I feel like Jones obviously won it, but it was a competitive fight. Cormier maybe a round or something. And I think Cormier will make those adjustments to be able to beat him. So, yeah, I think it'll be a much closer fight, but I think Cormier could make the adjustments to beat Jones in a rematch.
Fair enough. Okay, greatest threat. My greatest threat, obviously, to Anthony Johnson is Daniel Cormier. Dr. Tony?
I don't think it's butter. It's cocaine and motor vehicles. That's my biggest threat to John Jones. Honestly, I'm being honest. I don't think he's going to beat him in light heavyweight division. I think he's going to beat himself.
All right, I'm going to officially record your biggest threat as cocaine and pills. All right, Ben, your biggest threat?
I guess, man, if we're talking biggest threat to Cormier, well, it's going to be John Jones. In terms of big threat, I still think he'll beat him. I think Johnson could be, but depends if he gets booked. depends what exactly happens. But I'm not personally I'm not too sure if the belt will be defended this year. Again, I think we could. It's feasibly see. I don't know. I just feel like the way the UFC are throwing up interim belts at the moment. I think Cormier, given how they've been giving them out lately, if Cormier can't fight soon, then they're going to have to start thinking about that as well.
Fair enough. Okay, one to watch. My one to watch in the light heavyweight division, let's face it, it's fairly weak as a division right now. There's not that many talents like the other ones that you're crazy for in the top 15, top 20. But this one guy, Misha Serkunov, he just beat Nikita Krylov in December. I think he's exceptional. And Lithuanian fighter, very skilled grappler, very skilled striker as well. I think he could have a good run in 2017, possibly get himself up to title contention. Because this division is something that needs. It's one that needs fresh contenders. You've got guys in there like Shogun, who I love Shogun. He's one of my favorite fighters ever, but he's not. He doesn't give performances that make me think top 15 in the world recently. And so the fact I'm not sure where he's ranked right now. I think it's maybe 9th. So yeah, Misha Serkunov is my one to watch for 2017 at light heavyweight. Dr. Tony?
I'm going to go with Jimmy McNulla. So he's my one to watch. He's kind of sitting there in the middle of the rankings. He's right behind Ryan Bader, the free agent. I expect Bader to move on. I don't expect him to be. I think he has a better shot going elsewhere. So outside that, who else? Gus maybe. Gus, but I don't want to watch because he's been so inactive lately. It's almost like ever since that fight with Jones, it was kind of lived out after that. So
yeah.
Other than that, Glover Teixeira is kind of going on the wrong side of 30. He's mid-30s, mid to late 30s, I believe. So for me, it's Mano. Mano's only got 2 losses. I think he's going to be able to beat some of those top 2 guys. But you're right. The division's pretty weak right now. So if I had to pick one, it would be Mano. I think Mano was better than the top 10 right now. So.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Adam. I think Misha, because just having 3 subs in the year, and also the fact that the only thing that's in those, I'm just not entirely sure it's necessary. It's the competition you've got to think about, and who's sport. Like, is he up to that kind of elite level as of yet? Manu crossed my mind as well, but I just feel with Manu is if he gets fed against a guy who can, because we saw what Sam proved, was able to take him down. He gets given more effective grapplers. I'm not too sure to what extent Manu can win. But yeah, I'd say Misha. I'm not going to try and pronounce the surname, but
Serkunov.
Serkunov. Yeah, I'm not too sure given the caliber of his opposition. Like you say, I would say, yeah, it's quite weak at the moment. I think it's worth it. Given the inactivity, to me, like heavyweight is different on the line.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, let's move on to another division then. One more down. The middleweight division. The current UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping. This time last year, it was Luke Rockhold. And Luke Rockhold was just coming off UFC 194, where he demolished Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman, who was really considered the man at the time. So yeah, he was scheduled for a rematch, UFC 199. The title has made 3 appearances this year. Sorry, UFC 199. No, it is 2. It is 2. My bad. UFC 199, June 4th. Michael Bisping takes the title from Luke Rockhold. First round knockout. That left hook. Fucking the most insane upset of the year. It's crazy after 10 years fighting. After how long he's been a contender. Yeah, it's remarkable to think of him holding gold. But yeah, the appearances the title has made this year, UFC 199, June 4th, Michael Bisping takes it by a first-round knockout over Luke Rockhold, and then he defends it UFC 204 in Manchester, October the 8th, against Dan Henderson by a unanimous decision. Okay, champ, this time next year in the middleweight division, as much of a patriot as I am, I can't see Michael Bisping retaining. I think this time next year, the middleweight champion will be Gegard Mousasi. I think Yoel Romero will beat Bisping, and then I think Mousasi will beat Yoel Romero. Also, the way the division's going, I think the title picture is very open. So if somebody makes a statement like that, they can get through. Gegard Mousasi is just coming off dominating knockout over Uriah Hall. He's had a great string of wins, 6 of his last 7. 5 of those have been finishes. He's got really good finishing rate ever since he lost to Jacare. And how it's gone right now, I really think Mousasi has a chance to, in a couple of fights to make a statement and capture that belt. So it's a bit of an out there prediction, but in terms of other guys with business to settle, like Jacare's fighting Boach, so I don't think they're going to give him a win off Boach. Rockhold needs to fight Jacare. Weidman just got beat by Romero. Romero's going to fight Bisping. And then I think the next statement from there will be Mousasi, who beats Romero. That's how I predict 2017 playing out in the middleweight division. Dr. Tony, what do you think?
I do not think Mousasi's going to win. I actually think Bisping has a chance against Romero. I'm not saying Bisping, there's going to be a new champ, but I think Romero loses to Bisping. That's my call right now.
Interesting.
I think Bisping's going to wear him out, and I think the gas tank's going to be too much. We've seen it happen with Romero already, with Kennedy. We saw it with Weidman too, and then he caught him with the knee, and then it was lights up. But what I think is going, I think Jacare is going to end up with the title this time next year. I think Jacare is going to run through Bosch in quick fashion, and then I think they're going to give him a shot either against Rockhold or against somebody like Weidman. I think he's going to beat either of those that they put in front of him, and then he's going to get a shot against Bisping. I think, unless Bisping, I think Bisping could have really off. He might be banged up a little bit. He might be home for a while, and I think he may be, and then Jacare will finally get his due. With the way it's going, Jacare may not even get that title shot because, they have to give him Tim Bosch because everything's locked up or everybody else is hurt. But that being said, I think that's part of the reason why Jacare is going to be in, perfect spot for it. Plus the way everything's going with, everybody leaving and free and seeing people bitching and all that. Jacare, that guy, they put, I don't know if you guys saw it online, Twitter, like they put a Craigslist ad on, like wanting looking for an opponent for Jacare. So the man's got to get paid. He's very skilled. We've seen what he can do. I don't think Mousasi gets there. Mousasi is scheduled right now.
Not currently.
Okay, so that, who knows what'll happen with that too. Do they end up meeting again too? There's a chance that Jacare and Mousasi can meet once again later going to fight for the title. So my pick is Jacare.
Ben?
My pick is Romero. I think he's going to beat Bisping, and I don't think anyone else is going to get cracking by the end of the year because in the back of my mind, I've got this feeling that they're going to do Woodley Bisping, and then I think when they've done Woodley Bisping, which I think they'll probably schedule for maybe April, May, given how often the middleweight title is normally up for grabs, I can't see that the bout between Bisping and Romero, which I do think will happen. And I think given the way the division's looking, I think they will keep it so that they will give Romero that shot, and I think he'll have the opportunity to wait for that shot, particularly given the way they aired it and the fact that they can do a good amount of promo over that. And I think they realise there could be a lot of fight generated for that fight, particularly riding on Bisping. But I feel like, I don't think anyone else is going to actually have the chance to have a shot at the title because I think it's only going to get defended once this year, and I think Romero is going to beat Bisping.
Okay, that's fair. Hey, interesting round. We all have 3 different picks, and not a single one is the current champ. Okay, greatest threat. My biggest threat to Gegard Mousasi, I'd say Yoel Romero. I think he is going to beat Bisping. It pains me to say that. It pains me to say that. I want Bisping to beat Romero so bad, as I think everybody does. Could Romero look like more of a dick and less sympathetic after the Weidman KO? I don't know, the way Romero's presented himself, it's almost like he's been doing a pro wrestling angle, booking himself as a heel. He's just come across as a cunt in all his fights, and he's probably a nice enough guy. But yeah, I can't think of anybody who's like rooting for him, and I can't really think of many Yoel Romero fans, as it were. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, Yoel Romero is my biggest threat to Gegard Mousasi. Dr. Tony?
If Bisbee does lose to Romero, that's my pick is Romero as well for Jacare. I mean, based on their first fight. So, which I do think Jacare won.
Okay, Ben?
My biggest threat for Romero, it's in the back of my head thinking about it. I think Rockhold could give him a few problems if he does get that fight. I think particularly given the size, and also we talked about athleticism, and we talked about the way he moves away from the tackle with plenty of kicks, and I feel like Rockhold would be able to suss out Romero's range quite easily. You've got to say Jacare as well. But I've just got a feeling that Rockhold's going to come back really hungry, and if they do give him the right fights, he's not my pick like this necessarily being his year, but he's up there. Yeah.
Okay, and our one to watch in the middleweight division, the person who we think will have a good 2017, I am going to go with Robert Whittaker. Before that, I thought Bronson was going to beat him, and Bronson definitely would have been my pick for one to watch, but Whittaker KTFO'd him, so Whittaker is now the guy. He's been a kind of dark horse contender. I've not really caught on to his rise. It's like, oh, okay, he won. Oh, okay, he won. Oh, shit, he won. And it's just sort of built up like that. It's like, oh, shit, yeah, this guy's putting some wins together. He's legit. And I've been really paying attention to him now, and I think his skill set is so polished, and he believes in himself so much, and he's got some very good heads around him. I think he can make a decent run in 2017 and establish himself as a top contender. Dr. Tony, you're one to watch?
Absolutely agree, 100%. Robert Whittaker, he's read up 6 straight wins after he got knocked out by Wonder Boy, and he's been kind of that guy under the radar. You know, everybody's talking about the top of the division with everything that's going on between Weidman and Rockhold and Romero and Bisbee. But yeah, he's definitely the one for me.
Good stuff. Ben?
Well, to watch. While I agree that Whittaker is he's a solid pick, I just feel like he's a little bit too hittable. And I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum for my one to watch. I think particularly given the way he cut his shoes, I think he would probably hang in that middleweight. And I think what he did against Tim Kennedy was fantastic. He has the win over Renee and Johnny Hendricks. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate Hendricks has been on a decline. But yeah, just looking at such smooth boxing, great footwork. I think the interesting with Cal, he's won the Ultimate Fighter, and he's only Calvin's he's 26 this year. At the end of the year, he's a young guy still. I think for middleweight, that's very young, and I think that we could see a really great year. So yeah, for just the technical boxing, and he's the sort of fighter that can do it. I think Calvin's going to have a great year if he stays in the division. I think he will.
Okay. Middleweight, Kelvin Gastelum. All right, let's move down to the welterweight division then. Welterweight champion now, currently, Tyron Woodley. This time last year, it was Robbie Lawler. The title has made 3 appearances this year. Coming in first, January 2nd, UFC 195. Robbie Lawler defeats Carlos Condit via controversial split decision. UFC 201, July 30th, Tyron Woodley defeats Robbie Lawler via first round knockout. And 205, UFC 205, November 12th, Tyron Woodley and Stephen Thompson fight to a draw. The contendership currently is looking pretty weird because they're talking about external super fights here with Bisping coming from the top and Conor McGregor coming from below. Sorry, I found that hard to say for some reason. But yeah, the 4 main contenders, Damian Maia, Stephen Thompson, Conor McGregor and Michael Bisping being sought for the next fight. It's insane that this is a discussion that's taught on equal footing because it obviously needs to be the rematch between Stephen Thompson and Tyron Woodley, right? I can't see them booking anything above this because that would be insane. But yeah, okay. My champion this time next year in the welterweight division will be Damian Maia. I really like Stephen Thompson. I really like Tyron Woodley as well, and he's impressed me a lot. He had a great 2016, but I think Stephen Thompson has his number. Just a bit of adjustment in takedown defense, a bit of rewatching of that tape, and I think he'll have it. Because on the feet, it was not even close. Stephen Thompson was able to obliterate him and everything. But Damian Maia is Damian Maia, and Damian Maia's been doing Damian Maia stuff, and it's pretty fucking good. I don't see Tyron Woodley or Stephen Thompson being able to resist what Damian Maia is capable of right now. So this time next year, I think he has the belt. Also, yeah, touching on the next contendership as well, is it absolutely insane that people are considering putting Michael Bisping or giving Tyron Woodley to Michael Bisping or Conor McGregor? And Dr. Tony, who is your champ next year?
My champ is Wonder Boy. I don't think Maya's going to get a shot.
At all?
I do. Just not within the year. I think Maya's got. It'll be interesting to see who he's matched up against next. Because I think what I predict, I think it's going to be a tough fight for him as well. But I think Wonder Boy wins. I'm not saying that Wonder Boy is going to beat Maya or Maya would beat Wonder Boy, but my prediction right now is Wonder Boy is going to win the rematch. They have to do the rematch. It's being talked about now. It hasn't been finalized for UFC 209. But I also thought he won. But I think Wonder Boy is in a class as far as I'm concerned, as far as his striking time.
Yeah, it's a fascinating matchup. Unbelievable godlike striking against unbelievable godlike jiu-jitsu. Ben, your champion next year of the UFC welterweight division?
I think Woodley's going to retain it.
Really? All the way through?
Yeah. I think he's not as good. I think Woodley will get quite enough credit from people, as he should. I think he's a very solid fighter. He's very good actual wrestler. He hits hard. His movement's good. I think he will make a few minor adjustments to be able to give one of the problems. I know the way he was circling back himself into the cage, I think was part of his plan. I think what Woodley did is he sat on the back foot and baited him a little bit too much in that fight. I think he'll make the necessary adjustments, and I think he'll be able to beat Wonder Boy in the rematch. And I feel like this was a difficult one for me because somewhere in my mind I've just got an image of Donald Cerrone going on a crazy run, given how often he fights and get it. But I think that Woodley's going to retain it. And again, I feel like because it falls into that category, I thought we could maybe see only one defence of the belt this year. And I really feel like that would be this fight could be materialising, depending on the new owners and what their views are towards super fights. But I feel like you need to make fights super first. And I think that super rematch needs to happen. And we unfortunately might not see it, depending on what happens and if Thompson's allowed to wait. So, yeah, I don't think Maya's going to get the chance, to be honest with you. I think he could be. I can't see Maya getting the fight he needs or getting the title shot.
Both of you. Okay, then. If Maia does get the title shot, though, and fights, let's say, Stephen Thompson. Okay, it's Thompson or Woodley. Do you think he beats him?
I think Woodley. I think Wonder Boy beats Maia. Sorry, no, what was that? Sorry. I feel like Wonder Boy beats Maia, and I feel like Maia beats Woodley. Because, and the reason for this is looking at the range and how they fight, I've got a feeling in the back of my mind that Thompson is very, very agile to me about the way, very effective. I think given how long he fights, and that style, I think he'll be able to keep Maia at bay. I think to the extent we could almost see somewhat of a comparison to the Rory McDonald Demian Maia fight, or are we talking, we look at some of the striking differentials in the Weidman Maia fight, where Maia's facing those longer guys who've got good understanding of range. I can't see it happening. I feel with Woodley, I think Maia potentially, with the way Woodley tends to back himself into the cage a bit more, I think that could play quite a lot into Maia's strengths. So I see Maya being able to take him down something, but I think he'll be.
Dr. Tony, if he does get the chance, do you see Maya being able to capture the title from Thompson or Woodley?
No. Well, you know what? Not for Wonder Boy. I agree with Ben a lot on it. Woodley, it's tough, and I want to say yes because of what Ben said, but I don't know Woodley. I just see Woodley being too powerful for him as well too. So, and right now, I mean, ask me 10 minutes from now, what change? Yeah, I see no way for Wonder Boy, but Woodley, 50-50 for me.
Fair enough. Okay, our biggest threats, well, Stephen Thompson, I think, is the biggest threat to Damian Maya. Dr. Tony?
I mean, how can I not say Damian Maya?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Damian Maya's for me. I mean, I'm not confident. This is one of the divisions I'm not confident with. This.
Yeah, it's quite a hard to call one.
Yeah, so that's why I would say.
Ben?
Biggest threat to me, given the moves and the sort of fight and what's been happening now, I think it's happening. My biggest threat to time with his Conor McGregor.
What? You serious? Conor McGregor to Woodley?
Because I feel like at welterweight, that is one of the potential fights they could make, and that could get him above the line. I feel like Thompson, I feel like Woodley's going to make necessary adjustments against Thompson and hopefully not back himself too much. I feel like, so I mean, if that fight does happen, let's face it, that fight could happen quite easily. We could see, I mean, Woodley's going to have to take him down, and I think that a very good contender.
Okay, fair. McGregor's really gone up in your estimations this year. This time last year, you were very much not on that bandwagon. So kudos, good to have you aboard. I don't think he's going to capture the welterweight title. I'm a massive fanboy for McGregor, but I don't see it against Woodley. Okay, one to watch in the UFC welterweight division for 2017. Mine is Donald Cerrone. I think he's going to have a great 2017 in the welterweight division. He is ever since coming over to welterweight, he's had a 4-fight win streak, I think. Yeah, 3 KOs, 1 submission, or maybe another submission in it. I am butchering this in my memory, but yeah, he's ranked 5th now, and that's quite a good debut year in the welterweight division. I think he's going to continue to kick ass and have a great 2017. Dr. Tony?
Can't say it any other way. Cerrone's on my mind too. He subbed the other cowboy.
Yeah, Alex Oliveira, the triangle choke. I was trying to think. That was the one I was thinking of. Was there another one?
Not since he's moved to the division. No.
Yeah, because it was KO over Rick Story, KO over Matt Brown, and another one.
I have it somewhere.
But yeah, Ben, then you're one to watch. Oh, Patrick Cote, yes, that's the one.
That was the debut, wasn't it?
No, the debut was Alex Oliveira. It was at the main event of the fight night.
I guess.
Cowboy versus Cowboy.
Yep.
No, boy, my one's to watch this year. I just think he can get a lot of momentum. Obviously, I think Neil Magny is just very somewhere different. And I had Cerrone as well, and I feel like Cerrone could again have a great year. I think it'll be interesting to see Cerrone testing against some of the bigger guys in the weight class, and I think that particularly those who can maybe wrestle a bit more effectively. I feel like Neil Magny's got one leg up on him in that department, and especially being such a big guy and very athletic, and I think that maybe the last might have just been a bump in the road. So yeah, I think the way he's been improving, I think Neil Magny's going to have quite a strong year.
Okay, that's I can't dispute that. That's a pretty good one. All right, let's move down to the lightweight division then. The lightweight champ right now is Conor McGregor, and this time last year it was Rafael dos Anjos. The welterweight title has made has made 2 appearances this year at UFC Fight Night July 7th. Eddie Alvarez defeats Rafael dos Anjos for the title and wins it by a first round knockout. And UFC 205, Conor McGregor, November 12th, defeats Eddie Alvarez via second round knockout, wasn't it? That was pretty fucking fantastic year for the lightweight division. Those 2 title changes. It's always been the most compelling. It's always been a Shark Tank. And really, when calling champ next year, I had a hard time. This was a really hard pick to make because I see this mainly. I feel bad for Alvarez and Dos Anjos because I'm leaving them out of the title picture for a while. I think that there is a kind of triumvirate, the top three that I'm not certain on right now between Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Tony Ferguson. Three insanely good guys that I could all three of them I could see as champ next year. I have begrudgingly, the one I'm giving the edge to is Nurmagomedov. I think he's going to be the one holding the title next year. I think he beats McGregor. I think McGregor's got a great chance of beating Ferguson because Ferguson's style leaves him open to getting struck, and McGregor, when he hits you, is something else. I think Nurmagomedov beats Conor McGregor with the clinch grappling and the chain grappling, and against Ferguson, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how that plays out. So, yeah, not a very confident one. I've been calling. Tony will testify to this. In 2012, 11, I called Khabib Nurmagomedov to be champ. Still fucking waiting on it. Still waiting on it. Nobody doubts that he would have murdered Pettis when Pettis was champ, right? Nurmagomedov is my pick. Dr. Tony?
Okay. Well, I just Javier Dos Anjos announced that he's moving up, so you can take him out of the picture anyway.
Okay.
So, I'm going to say this with a heavy heart. I think Conor McGregor is retaining, and the only reason I think he's retaining is because he's not fighting. He's not going to get to fight. He's not going to defend.
He's just going to avoid fighting the whole year.
Well,
Every
so
time.
he's taken 10 months off from him. So right there, whatever the hell he's going on with this, he's having a kid or whatever. I don't think it's going to get to that point. I think something else is going to happen in between where he's not going to fight for it. So I think McGregor's going to retain with it. The simple fact that he's not going to fight. And if he does fight, it's not going to be the winner because they're already booking Nurmagomedov against Ferguson anyway. So that is supposed to happen. Depending on what happens with that, I think it'll be interesting. I have a feeling I'm just doing it based on time.
For that, we need to look at. I don't know what time Ramadan is this year because Nurmagomedov takes time off for Ramadan. He's not training, so can't schedule fights around them.
Yeah. So there's that too.
Yeah. I think fair enough. So Conor McGregor, if he does fight Nurmagomedov or Ferguson, do you think he retains?
No. Absolutely. Well.
Fair enough.
Well, it depends. It depends. I think Nurmagomedov easily beats McGregor. Easily.
Could be. I can't dispute that. Yeah, it would be terrifying.
I think he takes care of Ferguson, but I think it'll be back and forth. But Nurmagomedov, I'm sorry, Diaz, but you're nowhere in Nurmagomedov's range as far as wrestling and grappling and all that. That's kind of. It'd be fun to watch. I can't wait. I'm not a McGregor fan. I haven't heard it yet, so.
Okay, Ben, lightweight champ next year.
Habib every time.
Good call.
I think Ramadan this year is late May until late June, and I feel like
so a September August sort of fight would make sense.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. I'm feeling like by the time the Greggs have this time off, I think what's going to happen because I've heard a few different things. I've heard people said he was going to have time off, and he said. He actually would be open to another interview. I think he did in a couple of weeks ago. He said he would be. So I don't really know what's happening there, but I think what he could easily do, I feel like McGregor's going to fight twice this year. However, I feel like his first fight back is not necessarily going to be Habib or Ferguson winner. I feel like it's going to one of these preposterous super fights and something like that, or there'll be another fight, or I could easily see it mentioning that the trilogy fight, the fight, if the division's held up and it doesn't fit in with time frames. But yeah, I feel like McGregor could come back and fight maybe in time, and then I feel like he will fight again given his activity. I think he will fight by the end of the year, and I think it'll be late November time, and I think he'll have to fight Khabib, and then I think Khabib will soundly take care of him. I also think he soundly takes care of Ferguson as well. I can't see them being problems. I think Ferguson is an easier match than McGregor, but I can't, because I think it could be, I don't think Ferguson could get stuck in too much.
Fair enough. Biggest threat then. Conor McGregor, Nurmagomedov. Conor McGregor, Ferguson. I'm going to pick Conor McGregor. Greatest threat to Khabib Nurmagomedov. That's hard to say. I love El Kukui. I love me some El Kukui. I really, really believe in him. I've seen that absolute rise out of him. He's very, very impressive, but I've got to give the edge to Conor McGregor. It's almost a shame that these guys are fighting at the same time, because they're just like all of them a few years ago, or maybe even like 1 or 2 years ago, I think would put dominant reigns on the division, but very, very competitive title picture right now at 155. Your greatest threat, Dr. Tony?
Khabib. Easily. For the reasons already said.
Ben?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to have to be Conor McGregor too, probably. I don't feel like I don't think Ferguson's going to be too much better. I think he gets past him fairly easily.
Okay, one to watch then in the lightweight division. I've got Lando Venata, my new favourite guy. Lando Venata, obviously, as we mentioned, scored my KO over the year over John McDessie and debuted in Sioux Falls with against very, very late notice against Tony Ferguson, and gave him one hell of a fight. Those head kicks he was landing on him, brutal, really rocking him, really looking like he was putting him in struggle, and then got caught by Ferguson's signature gas. It was a great, great performance, great, great debut. I think Lando Venata is going to have a very good 2017. Dr. Tony, your one to watch?
My one to watch is Edson Barboza.
Ooh. Interesting choice.
Yeah, he's sitting underneath all them. And, he lost to Ferguson pretty handily. Speaking of the Dash, I believe he lost to that one via that. But I think that while they're busy up top, fighting each other, I think Barboza's going to keep active and do his things. I don't see anybody else kind of taking him. So I would watch for a decent year from him. I don't know if he's going to get a title shot, but maybe he'll be close to a number one contender spot at some point. But Barboza, just based on the brutality of those leg kicks, he's fun to watch too. So
it's just hard to picture a guy who gets floored by a jab from Cerrone, though. As
but right now, who else is there besides? Banata's coming up. I don't think Banata's going to be. I agree to an extent, but I think Banata is going to have his little time yet. So as far as that, I think Barboza, he's right there. He's ranked 4th or 5th, I think. So he's underneath him. There's nobody that really is, shouting to me, okay. And especially with Cerrone moving and everything, there's, what are you going to do? So.
Yeah, fair enough. Ben?
I'm going to agree with Tony. Barboza's my one. I think particularly given with his last couple of wins being against elite guy, he beat Pettis, he's beat Melendez, and that's a pretty good amount of momentum. And I think equally, in his mind, he's going to have that hunger, looking at Ferguson at the top, thinking, wow, I lost to that guy, I'm going to got a bit of a run. So, yeah, I think he's going to have quite a strong one. And also, I think, to an extent, if we're going to be different than what Tony said, I think I could see Michael Chiesa maybe having a...
Okay, that's an interesting one, yeah, I agree.
He subbed Jim Miller last year. He's been to the end last year. And, if he has a few more fights, could look good. But I think I think we could feasibly... it was Venata that replaced him, wasn't it? Venata came in here.
Yeah.
You could feasibly see that fight if you want to see the fight at the prospects. But I think, given the way the divisions, not prospects, sorry, but given the surges, but I think given the way the divisions are, they would make that fight. But maybe Michael Chiesa, but I do agree and say Barboza. I think he's in a nice position at the moment with a lot of momentum.
Okay, good stuff. All right, then, let's move on to the featherweight division. Current champ is Jose Aldo, and we have an interim champ, Max Holloway. This time last year, the featherweight champ was Conor McGregor. The title has not actually made any appearances officially here. Well, there's only been 2 interim title fights. UFC 200, July 9th. Jose Aldo defeats Frankie Edgar for the interim title and was later promoted to undisputed. And UFC 206, December 10th, Max Holloway defeats Anthony Pettis for the interim title via TKO. Okay, champ this time next year, I am taking Max Holloway always, all day. I think he is going to beat Jose Aldo quite significantly, and I think he is going to beat anybody who comes in his way. Dr. Sony?
I agree. I love Aldo, but I think Holloway's gonna take him. I don't think it's gonna be as decisive as you think. I think Aldo has a lot to. I think he's still stung by the defeat to Conor, but I also think it's in his head as well. And he's also on the downside of his career, perhaps. It's tough to see these legends, but Holloway's exciting. Holloway's so well rounded. I don't see anybody beating him either. So yeah, Holloway for me.
Okay, Ben?
I would have agreed until I saw, well, we've been going on this looking at Holloway's recent performances until we saw Aldo fight Edgar and show the grit that he's really, I don't necessarily feel like Aldo's declining. I feel like Aldo will beat Holloway, and then I feel like he will, but he's going to maybe retain the title against whoever else he fight. So yeah, I think Aldo's this time next.
Yeah.
I think he's I think he's still got it. I think he's still hungry. I think as well, looking at that Edgar fight, I think for me that was an incredible fight to watch, because just watching a display of defensive wizardry, he in all phases of the fight was exceptional. Showed like he was the Aldo of old, not the Aldo of old, the Aldo who was fighting league guys, and I was like crushing Mendes, things like that, and he was looking very, very gay.
Yeah.
I think people don't often give much credit to that, particularly given the tear that Edgar was off in. Edgar was a real threat there. And people were talking about Edgar McGregor, why is he not getting this? And Aldo took care of it. Yeah, I think Aldo took it.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I've probably been calling an Aldo decline too early for quite a while now. So, yeah, we've been having this argument for quite a while whether Aldo's done or not. I mean, I've been thinking he's done for a while, and he keeps proving me wrong. So, yeah, you're right. That was an eye-opening fight. Aldo still has got some very legit skills. I just see the range and the skills and the angles. Max Holloway having this stylistically be very beneficial to him. So that's why it is my greatest threat. I actually have Frankie Edgar, not Jose Aldo, to Max Holloway. Who is your greatest threat, Dr. Sony?
Mine's going to be Jose Aldo.
Fair enough.
I think it's going to be a close fight. I can see it going either way. I do think Holloway's going to win it, though, honestly. But Aldo, while I do think he's starting to decline, I think it's a slow decline. And I'm still not sold. I want to see him fight McGregor again. I want to see what he can do. He looked amazing against Frankie Edgar. That proved right there that he's still relevant. He's still one of the best in the ring. So for me, it is Aldo. And don't be surprised that they have such a good fight that they fight. So you're the rematch, I predict. So.
Cool, yeah. Ben, your greatest threat to Jose Aldo?
We're going to have to go with Holloway, given that fight will happen. If we're talking outside of that, we'd probably say, I think, I'm just going to stick with that. I think good man on the way. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Stick with Holloway.
Okay, cool. One to watch then in the featherweight division. Mine is Yair Rodriguez. I have been loving his run at the moment. Such an exciting guy. So stylistically competent as well. He had a lot of difficulties coming into the fight with what was the last one? Bruce Leroy Caceres. And yeah, he passed that test with flying colours, in my opinion. That was a great fight. He fought to Caceres' strengths, really tested him in that area. He fights BJ Penn January 15th, so in a few days we'll know if how Yair Rodriguez is going to do. But yeah, I think he's going to have a great 2017. Tony, you're one to watch in the UFC featherweight division.
Well, the winner of I think he's gonna plow through, which is a great fight for him. I think the fight to set up after that is the one to watch between the two of them, Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega. They are both amazing, and Ortega hasn't lost it. He had a no contest. I think he tested positive.
Yeah, he tested positive for something.
So, I mean, Ortega's got that kind of asterisk on his record. Yair Rodriguez is phenomenal, but Ortega's a beast as well too. So I'm actually at both of them out. Can't wait to see both of them, and I look forward to the two of them fighting to see who's going to emerge from that. So I think, almost like they had Almeida Garbrandt, you're kind of looking to see which one's going to go forward and which one wasn't. And Garbrandt, look at him now. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to these guys. I think they're on a collision course. If you look at the division, there's some in there, but I think those two, they're close in the rankings, 10 and 9, I believe, for both of them. So I see that happening in the future.
Okay, cool. Ben, you're one to watch in the UFC featherweight division.
I want to watch next year Alex Caceres.
Okay.
I feel like good fight against Rodriguez. Rodriguez has been tearing people apart. He's been fighting incredibly well. I feel like hopefully Caceres will get the opportunity to have maybe a couple of fights earlier in the year, but he could have a couple of fights by July, August, and then I'm hoping they give him a bit of a better matchup. And towards the end, if he can maybe crack, I could see him kind of coming in quite nicely to sort of a top 10 team finishing top 5 to run up to 10. So I think we could see maybe top 10 for him on the cusp of the top 5 if he as well. And I like so he's a good player. I think he's showing kind of good signs of improvement as well. He's quite a young guy. So I think he'll do well. And also I think to watch, I think Anthony Pettis is going to come back a little bit stronger. Hopefully now he gets away. Cut dialed it. You think you're going to go good decline, do you?
Yeah.
You always do. The guys who think on decline. But I think you're just a fanboy from young blood.
You're very true.
Maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
Stupid
It works out sometimes. Okay, let's move on to the bantamweight division then. The current champ is Cody Garbrandt, and this time last year it was TJ Dillashaw. The title has made 3 appearances this year. UFC Fight Night, January 17th, Dominic Cruz defeats TJ Dillashaw via decision. UFC 199, Dominic Cruz defends the title June 4th against Uriah Faber via decision. And UFC 207, Cody Garbrandt on December 30th takes the title from Dominic Cruz via decision. Okay, champ, this time next year, UFC Bantamweight division, I'm going with TJ Dillashaw. I think TJ Dillashaw has Cody Garbrandt's number. I think he's a bit more experienced, a bit more high on the fight IQ. I think we've used this kind of trio philosophy for quite a few in here. Well, I say the same as lightweight. I see Cruz being able to beat Dillashaw. I see Dillashaw being able to beat Garbrandt. I see Garbrandt being able to beat Cruz again. I think stylistically that's just the way they match up and what circumstantially will produce those kind of results. So, yeah, I think Dillashaw's rising and I think he's going to get the fight against Garbrandt and I think he might even knock him out clean. We've seen stuff about his chin being testy before Cruz tried to harp on that, the amount of concussions he had. So I think Dillashaw with his head kicks, that he's the one to test him. And he's trained with him, so he knows him, and he's got a very, very smart coach in Dwayne Ludwig. So I think he's going to recapture the title. 2018, coming into that, TJ Dillashaw will be bantamweight champ. Your champ next year, Dr. Tony.
For the exact reasons you just mentioned, Dominic Cruz will be the champion.
Oh.
TJ Dillashaw will walk through Garbrandt. Dillashaw will lose to Cruz in that rematch.
Okay, I can see it playing like that.
That's mine, so that's I'm going with Cruz. But it'll be interesting to see if he defends it at all. I don't think he's going to because my my biggest threat is coming up, or my I don't know. It might be my biggest threat and one to watch. So stay tuned for that one.
Okay, Ben, you're champ next year in the UFC bantamweight division. Ben, you there?
I'm there. Sorry, I was talking with my mic. I agree for the trio, and I think Dominic Cruz is going to beat Dillashaw. Yet again, what will be quite a close fight. Yeah, I think we're going to see Garbrandt Dillashaw. I think Dillashaw beats Garbrandt quite handily, keeping his hands up. Luke Cruz will beat him in the rematch.
Okay, good stuff. I disagree though. I don't think Cruz beats Garbrandt. I think Garbrandt has his number. The head movement patterns, I was talking about this on the preview podcast we did for UFC 207. The premeditated patterns of Cruz, and Cruz been working on his style for so long. I think Garbrandt has his number. I think it's going to be every time now. I love Cruz so fucking much. Like, he's one of the gutsiest things I've ever seen a human being do is stick through those 4 years of fucking brutality that he did and come back and beat TJ Dillashaw. That is the comeback to end all comebacks. He deserves all the praise and admiration in the world for that. But I see TJ Dillashaw taking this. Okay, biggest threat? Yeah, I'd say Dominic Cruz, even more so than Cody Garbrandt. I really rate Cody Garbrandt as well. He's impressed me a lot this year. He's another one of those contenders that's kind of snuck up on people. But yeah, I'd say biggest threat, Dominic Cruz. Dr. Sony, your biggest threat?
I mean, just based on everything, Cody Garbrandt would be the biggest threat to Cruz because we'll be
Yes. Ben?
Probably Garbrandt. I think it's hard to fight for Cruz in rematch. I just feel like he'll make the adjustments. But yeah.
Fair play. Okay, one to watch in the UFC bantamweight division. I'm going with Jimmy Rivera. He's had a pretty good year, capping off Uriah Faber and Yuri Alcantara. His next fight is wait, I had that down. Caraway. Oh, did he get scrapped? Brian Caraway's out.
Caraway's hurt.
Yeah, thought so. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with that, but yeah, I think Jimmy Rivera is going to have a good 2017. Brian Caraway, I really highly rate him. I like him as a person and as a fighter. But Jimmy Rivera, I think, edges it. You're one to watch in the bantamweight division for 2017, Dr. Sony?
Here's where it gets interesting. I had Caraway originally. He got hurt. I had Rivera because I agree Rivera's going to have a good year. But the one that I have now, I also had somebody else. I had this one that I'm going to say right now as the champion at the end of the year of this division, Mighty Mouse. I think Mighty Mouse is going to move up. I think we talked about it. You talked about the stats off air about the days, how he wants.
Yeah.
Originally, I was going to have him as a 2-division champion. I think Mighty Mouse is not. We'll get into the division next, but I don't think Mighty Mouse has anything to prove anymore. I think he's going to just get more with this division. I think he's going to move up, and I think he's going to be a consideration for contender, if not the champion. So the one to watch is Mighty Mouse to see. I think he's finally going to move up, and I think he's going to start going through the ranks.
Interesting choice. Ben?
To throw a bit more spice into the equation, because I would have said I think Rivera's going to have a good year. My point with Rivera is I think when you fight some of these guys at the top of the division, I think they might beat him depending on who they put him against. I think Aljamain Sterling's going to have a good year. I feel like that his first loss, the split decision to Caraway, close fight. I think it was a good loss for him. He's still a young guy, and yeah, I think Sterling we're going to see a pretty good year. But I think it all depends on matchmaking. I know he's got Sinfield. I think he'll win that fight.
I seem to remember somebody on this podcast making a lot of money off that Caraway Sterling fight. Who was that? That was a great night because I did it on a parlay with Jeremy Stevens beating Henan Barral. Great night for me there. Okay, yeah, those are some interesting picks to watch in that division. Let's move on to women's bantamweight then. Current champ Amanda Nunes. This time last year, the champion was Holly Holm. The title has made 3 appearances this year. UFC 196, March 5th. Miesha Tate defeats Holly Holm via 5th round submission. Amazing fight, amazing comeback. A truly exceptional performance. UFC 200, July 9th, Amanda Nunes takes the title from Miesha Tate with a first round brutal strikes and RNC on the ground. And then Amanda Nunes defends her title December 30th against Ronda Rousey via first round TKO. Brutality. Champ next year. It's really annoying me the lack of respect Amanda Nunes has got as a very serious contender, especially if you look at UFC 207. She belonged in that main event slot. She's really, really risen to the occasion. There were a lot of problems with her for a lot of time, so it almost feels weird describing her as champion because for so long she was the one who doesn't have cardio beyond 2 rounds, is very inefficient with her ground and pound and her striking. Like if you watch something like the Jermaine Durandamy fight, her ground and pound is frantic, it's disorganized. It's like when you're playing the game and you're just sort of spamming the O button when you're getting guard, like hitting them in the guard, you're not being precise with it at all, wasting a ton of energy. But American Top Team have really, really worked on her. She's become something very special, and the fact that she's been out of the limelight in her 2 biggest wins has been a bit tragic, to be honest, and not really being considered the champion that she is. But yeah, the champion of the bantamweight division this time next year, Valentina Shevchenko. I think she is going to beat Amanda Nunes after she beat Valentina Shevchenko. Who's she fighting next? It's Juliana Pena. That's it. I think Valentina Shevchenko is going to beat Pena, and I think she's going to beat Amanda Nunes. They fought earlier, 2016. The 3rd round, Shevchenko was surviving, and Amanda Nunes dominated the first 2, but has no cardio beyond 2 rounds. I think a 5-round fight, Shevchenko would have finished that. So Dr. Tony, who are you taking this time next year, champ of the women's bantamweight division?
I'm not so confident that Shevchenko is going to get through Pena, so I'm going to stick. I agree with your analysis there as far as Shevchenko. Probably outlasting Nunes, but I think Nunes is going to retain. I don't just because of my.
You don't think Juliana Pena has a chance then?
No. I think Nunes has a better shot against Pena. So I think Nunes will walk through her, and it'll be quick. So yeah, I have Nunes retaining.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, I've got Nunes retaining as well, and I feel like she would beat Pena if she fought her. And I'm also, I don't know, I'm not too sure. The Pena fight's going to be interesting, but I feel like, I think with Nunes, I think she's made some real. If you look at her movement and her strike, I think it's really coming on quite nicely. And I think the age deficiency of movement she's got are really going to help with those cardio issues. And I think if she does get pushed, she's going to. And I think given the power as well, she's got so much finishing potential that she's dangerous yet technical. And I'm not too sure the other 2 have got the technical striking advantages to necessarily beat her. So yeah, I think Nunes is going to retain. I think she's having a great year.
Okay, I can see that. I mean, Shevchenko I see as something special, like especially a fight with Holly Holm. The way she's able to set up traps and really work around that range and size disadvantage with her striking. And as a character as well, she fascinates me. She's from Kyrgyzstan and she trains in all sorts of different places. She's like a martial arts mercenary. She's in Lima in Peru most of the year, like a real kind of traveler, nomad martial artist. I don't know, for some reason I find that kind of cool. So I'm very interested in what Valentina Shevchenko is capable of at the top of the division. Juliana Pena is one that could be brilliant. I mean, her performance against Kat Zingano was something impressive, a real breakthrough one. So that's why I have Juliana Pena as my greatest threat. I feel bad not saying all that at the start about Amanda Nunes getting respect as champ, and then not even including her in my champ next year and biggest threat. But yeah, I think Juliana Pena is the biggest threat to Valentina Shevchenko right now, considering their fight on January 28th. Dr. Tony, who's your biggest threat?
Next start is Kat Zingano.
Oh, interesting.
She's got that win over Nunez already.
Mhm.
And she's already been active on Twitter. So she's already campaigning for it. She's trying to get her head. So she called her disrespectful to Rousey. So that's already starting the wheels right there. So I think Zingano can. Nobody's talking about Zingano. You know.
No, it was because she lost to Pena, and Pena's in contendership, so just a bit above her.
So if it works out that way, if Shevchenko beats Pena, and then Shevchenko loses to Nunez, then I think Zingano gets it. It's so tough. Anything could happen in a year. So that's the crazy thing. But right now, I think it would be Zingano.
Okay, Ben?
Shevchenko, for similar reasons you said, with her ability to set up those traps and also adapt her game. I think a fight between her and Nunez would be an incredible fight, and I'm really looking forward to that, hopefully materializing, as I do think Shevchenko beats her. But yeah, I think Shevchenko.
Okay, and our one to watch in the women's bantamweight division, I'm going to go with Jermaine Durandamy. She fights Holly Holm February, I think. Let me look that up. February the 11th. She fights Holly Holm. So Holly Holm's had some difficulties. So I really think Jermaine Durandamy could pull that up as an upset and really could have a very surprising 2017. I was limited in choices for this one. I didn't know really who to pick outside of top contenders and rising prospects, because none have really been proven or really made a mark. But yeah, Jermaine Durandamy in her last fights, the striking she's capable of is something special. So, Dr. Stoney, you're one to watch.
I'm going to go with Ashley Evans Smith.
Oh, okay.
She's only had 3 fights in the UFC, so and her first fight was on short notice. So she actually stepped in for Holly Holm against Raquel Pennington. So that was her only loss thus far. She's pretty raw. I don't see her going. She's not close to being a contender, but I think that she's ranked number 11. She's 5-1. Her other 2 fights, she had a split decision and a TKO against bottom of the barrel people. But I think as far as contenders and everything, if you look at the division, it's kind of stale. I see Durandamy still being in the other division. I don't see her being a contender in this one as far as ones to watch. So, but yeah, that's what I see Evan Smith kind of by default. Looking at everybody. So.
Okay, fair. Ben?
See, my one, I think she's going to have a good year, because I think she's going to see it as one of their final years to be competing, and also looking at the momentum of the last performance in Sam McMahon.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that.
I feel like she goes back to some of the more wrestling basics, and she was able to get a top position. I thought she had a great performance in the Davis fight. I think she could, hopefully, we could see another Bisping game. Yeah, not to win the title, but I think she'd get into that contention again. I think given that the women's division, is relatively, up the facts competing in that title picture, I think she's in a position to take those 5. So I can see 2 or 3 wins hopefully this year.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about Sarah McMahon. Actually, I'll pick her as well. I love her jab cross as well. So fluid, so fast and effortless. She's an incredible athlete and putting it together. I picked her to beat Rousey first time. That didn't work out, but okay. Let's move on then. 2 more divisions to go. Flyweight champ. I think this might be the first one that we are unanimous on. Actually, we've not been unanimous on any yet, but current champ Demetrius Johnson. This time last year it was Demetrius Johnson. This time next year, it's sure as shit going to be Demetrius Johnson. Do you agree, Dr. Sonny?
100%.
Ben, do you agree? Demetrius Johnson?
Not even close.
Yeah. Demetrius Johnson retains. Okay, a bit about the record. He's currently got 9 consecutive title defenses. The record is 10 from Anderson Silva. He's equal GSP for number 2. It's annoyed me that they've tried to, when they're selling Mighty Mouse, they go for trying to build up the contender. Anybody who watches MMA knows that none of these guys have much of a realistic chance of actually defeating Mighty Mouse. So why not just build it in terms of the streak? Us hardcore MMA fans, let's face it, we're nerds. We love numbers, statistics, streaks, records. So him equalizing Anderson Silva's record will be pretty fucking cool. And that's his next fight. So I hope all the promotion is about reaching that number 10 consecutive title wins. Is a title win? No, title defenses. Yeah, he'll have 11 title wins, I think. And then the next record after that is 12 wins in title fights, currently held by Georges St. Pierre. And then the record after that is that he could go for, which I don't think he is going to go to bantamweight. That's the thing. I think he is going to stay at flyweight to shoot for all of these records and then retire as the greatest champ of all time, rather than risking that by taking on somebody like TJ Dillashaw. So, the current longest title reign ever is Anderson Silva's, and it's 6 years, 8 months, and 24 days. To beat that, Demetrius Johnson will have to stay champ until June 15th, 2019. Okay, we could ask. I'll ask this before Greatest Threat. Do you think Demetrius Johnson can hold it to July 15th, 2019? That's the big day where he breaks the record. Dr. Sony?
Yes, I do. Even though I think he's going to become complacent, I think he'll hold it though. I think he'll do. I still think he's going to move up, but I think he's going to stay active in that division long enough to hold it. Yes. So nobody's going to get it.
Ben?
I think it's difficult given the sport of MMA.
2.5 years. That's like 6-7 fights.
It is, and this is the interesting thing. It's 6-7 fights for Demetrius Johnson. Now, Anderson Silva didn't have that many fights in his reign. He did fight quite frequently. I think one thing that definitely plays into it, that will definitely work to DJ's advantage, is in that division. If we're looking at flyweight, there are a few power punches, but just given the size of guys and how hard they hit, it's hard to knock someone out. So I think that works to his advantage. And Silva was fighting bigger guys who can hit hard, but I feel like there's the potential that complacency in that many fights, depending on how active he wants to stay. What happens if he goes to bantamweight? He get wrecked at bantamweight, his confidence gets knocked or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, I feel like DJ, if you stick him in a bantamweight, I think looking at how much harder some of these guys hit, the way they move, like you think you throw him against Garbrandt's probably going to actually Dobson did. You could argue Garbrandt, far more skilled boxer, and then you look at the other guys, and you think DJ and Cruz is bigger than able to wrestle him. I think that's still the case in a fight again. But what if you fight a Dillashaw cracks it? And I think that DJ, who goes up, is in more jeopardy of losing that streak. But I think if he stays at flyweight, yeah, certainly we can see that. It's just as big as him. And I think if he does go up and then comes back down, I think he could get quite a big cut.
Okay. Greatest threat then. I guess it's mostly just for shits and giggles. I've gone with Kyoji Horiguchi. Because reasonably, you look down the list of bantamweight contenders, there aren't really many that are that threatening at all. Almost all of them have been beaten by Demetrius Johnson already, or beaten by or in the case of Formiga, have been beaten by somebody who's been beaten by him. Cejudo and Benavidez, the win was given to Benavidez, but I thought that was a clear Johnson decision. So even though Benavidez is solid, I don't think he's capable of beating Demetrius Johnson. So Kyoji Horiguchi, he's got a very, very smart camp in him. He's got some good fundamentals with his boxing. He's got good grappling. He's got really, really, really good speed. And yeah, American top team, a very smart camp who know what to do with him. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say, I forgot to mention when the flyweight title has appeared. My bad. The flyweight title has appeared twice this year. UFC 197, April 23rd, Demetrius Johnson defeats Henry Cejudo, first round knockout. TKO via knees, brutal. And the tough finale, Demetrius Johnson defends against Tim Elliott via unanimous decision. Okay, Tony, your greatest threat to Demetrius Johnson?
Probably. There's not very many, but just based on looking at things, Wilson Heiss.
Okay.
And the reason being is he's a little bit bigger for the division. He was an elite XC. He competed as bantamweight, so he may have the size potential. Plus, he BJJ world champion. He has a black belt in it. I think if there's one weakness that we saw in the last fight against Elliott had him in the first round. Granted, it wasn't very tight, but he had him in a choke. Is there a chance? Probably not. But out of all the contenders, I think Wilson Heiss is a little bit stronger. And still has quickness, has a little bit of power, but he's known for his submissions. 10 of his 21 wins have come via submission. So he's a beast on the ground. So I think if Wilson Heiss perhaps can get inside and get him on the ground, he could possibly work something with it.
Yeah, like power jiu-jitsu sort of thing.
Yeah, do I really think it's going to happen? No. But I mean, I think out of all the fighters, I think he may be the one style that might be a little bit uncomfortable for him. We saw a little bit early on with Elliott. But other than that, I don't see it happening.
Okay, Ben?
For me, it would only really be, and this is given DJ's fights thus far, we could fight, if he does decide to move down again, maybe John Dodson. That's the only person. If Dodson wins a couple of more things, I'll straight on and go to flyweight or something. Or if John Dodson is open to fights either weight class, just because he has been able to drop him before. He has got that power, and he's also shown he can compete against strong guys coming at him. So yeah, I think only Dodson. That's only if he takes the fight there or gets the fight somehow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I could see that. Dodson, though, the annihilation at UFC 191. Demetrius Johnson just seems to... I think he could beat John Dodson in his sleep, though. I really do.
He's the only one, that Dodson's the only one who, really was able to rock or sort of trouble Johnson outside of Tim Elliott, who gave him a good round, but, we've only really seen Dodson actually put Mighty Mouse in trouble. And he has shown the ability to do that against anyone. So I guess it's not a real threat, because technically no one beat him either.
No, I'm thinking Tony's answer is a very good one. Thinking about it now, that kind of power jiu-jitsu might have a chance. Okay, yeah. One to watch then in the flyweight division. I am going to go for Brandon Moreno. His recent upset submission over Louis Smolka. He's a very impressive guy. I want to see what he's got. He seems an exciting one. I had a hard time picking this because there's not a clear rising contender in flyweight. I think Tim Elliott, coming off a title shot, might have been a bit inappropriate to pick for this, but fucking hell, that was one hell of a breakthrough performance. Coming back into the UFC and putting that kind of fight up against DJ. I think he's going to have a very good 2017, and Ray Borg is another one to mention really in this area. Dr. Tony, your flyweight one to watch?
Same thing. I was going to say that if you didn't pick Moreno, I would have picked Moreno. If you didn't pick Borg, I would have picked Borg as well.
Oh, my bad.
So no, it's all good. Honestly, Borg, I would say Moreno or Borg. Borg had issues with weight cutting already, so we'll have to look forward to that. But I mean, Smolka, man, I don't know. They both beat Smolka, but I don't think Smolka's not as good as they advertised, So, but yeah, one of those two for me as well.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, maybe we'll just in case on Paul was the vehicle for that. I thought Paul's fighting a good performance against Smolka and stuff. He's a really exciting fight to watch. But this really comes down to who they put these guys against and what's really going to happen with the level of who you give it.
Okay, good stuff. Let's move on to our final division then, the UFC Women's Strawweight division. Current champ is Joanna Jędrzejczyk. This time last year it was Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The title has made 2 appearances this year. Tough finale July 8th. Joanna Jędrzejczyk defends it against Claudia Gadelha via unanimous decision. And then again at UFC 205, November 12th, defeats Karolina Kowalkiewicz via unanimous decision. Okay, champ this time next year. I'm going with another retention. I think Joanna Jędrzejczyk is a bit above everybody in this division right now. There are a few exciting threats and a few exciting contenders, But yeah, I don't see anybody beating Jędrzejczyk anytime soon. So retains throughout 2017. Dr. Tony?
Agree. And Jędrzejczyk. I don't see anybody beating her this year anyway.
Ben?
No, not this year. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ron.
Okay, that's cool. All right, biggest threat then in the UFC strawweight division. I'm thinking Jessica Andrade. Since moving down to strawweight, a former bantamweight fighter, she's been on a very vicious, scary tear, beating Calderwood and Penne, who were two top contenders in the division, in the way she did by a brutal TKO and a quick, kind of heavy, locked-in submission. I was very, very impressed with Andrade, so I'd like to see what she can offer against Jędrzejczyk, because if she's able to tag Jędrzejczyk consistently, and she looks like she can land with that kind of power that makes people worry, like, oh shit, and really get away from their game plan and really back off and be conservative because they can't afford to get hit. And from that mentality and that little panic, they do get hit. So it'll be interesting to see what she's capable of in this. So Jessica Andrade, I'm picking as my biggest threat. Dr. Tony?
Biggest threat, the only girl that actually gave her problems, Claudia Gadelha. I think
Okay.
it still was dominating in the end, but I think that Gadelha can hang with her as far as, for part of the fight anyway, with speed and a little bit of precision. It's tough because Jędrzejczyk is she's the Mighty Mouse of that division. I see that happening for her, but right now, Andrade, yeah, I can see it, but I don't know if Andrade has the speed, so we'll see. I think I would like to see them fight again and see what happens. So that would be my pick.
Thing is, like with Gadelha, I'd see the cardio issue with Gadelha always being a factor.
Yeah.
Because when they fought, there was so much build-up, so much preparation. So it really was, and she'd also fought Jędrzejczyk before, so that really felt like that was her best shot at it. That was her best foot forward.
Early on, she did have, if it was going to happen, it would have been early on, and then you're absolutely right. But still, to me, it's the Demetrius Johnson argument.
Yeah, true.
Out there, I think. So.
Okay, Ben, your biggest threat in the strawweight division?
It's probably going to have to be Carolina, for similar sort of reasons that she could land a few shots there against Jędrzejczyk. I feel like Gadelha, I don't see the fight happening for her. I can't see her getting a title fight again anytime soon. But yeah, I think Carolina, because I feel like that fight could easily happen this year. If Carolina wins the next fight, then I think they're going to do a big push. Looking at UFC expanding into markets this year like Russia and Poland, and it seems like maybe a European push and a kind of is a bit more on the card. And an Asian push as well. I think we could see that fight happen in Poland.
That would be fucking cool. I might even go to Poland to watch that. That would be quite sick. That would be a really cool event. Yeah, Ben, let's do it. Let's get tickets to Poland if that gets booked.
Yeah.
Tony, come over to Europe, across the Atlantic.
Sure, I'll bring the kid with me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like you've got commitments or anything. Just pregnant wife, all that job. Yeah. Okay, yeah. My one to watch then in the UFC strawweight division, Michelle Waterson just came off that win of Paige VanZant. I think Michelle Waterson is exceptional. She was great in Invicta and is a real product of Jackson Winklejohn that does them a lot of credit that we've not seen the best of yet. So I think Michelle Waterson is going to have a really good 2017. Sorry, Dr. Stoney?
I'm going to go with the girl that's not in the division yet. She is the current Invicta bantamweight champion.
Oh.
Jennifer Maia.
Okay.
She is the current. She just beat Roxanne Modafferi in a split decision. She trains at a legendary shootbox academy, so hopefully they could utilize soccer kicks again one day. I think, she's got the experience, right? She's only 28 years old. She's got 19 wins, I think 3 or 4 losses, so she has the experience. She's bigger naturally. points. I think she's very fluid. She's very crisp. She has equal amounts of power and speed. And she's coming from a decent camp. I mean, I don't know what they're doing out there now, but they've produced some of the legendary strikers, violent strikers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she has the potential to move up that division by destruction. So Jennifer Maia is my name to watch, especially in Invicta, kind of, with the UFC, the relationship they have. It could be somebody easily. She's currently ranked even number 2, pound for pound women in the world, I believe. That's some location. But Jennifer Maia is the name to watch.
Good stuff. Interesting. Ben.
So my pick is, I don't believe ranked, actually, at the moment. And it's Vivian Pereira, who came in to fight Valerie Letourneau. I feel like she's going to get a good run. I believe she's undefeated as well. And she, I could see her getting a good year. So I think she's 23 or 24 as well. And I think taking the short notice back up to South Africa, she might be a bit on the decline. And I think they're going to give her another. And I think that there's been some discussion already about her getting another fight in the UFC. And she's, very good jiu-jitsu, good all-round fighter. So, yeah, I think she's the one for me that might make a run. I think currently, if people make a run, if we're going to class those, I think it's happening good. Yeah, that depends on matchmaking, who she gets, like the strongest girls at the top of the division.
Okay, fair play. All right, yeah, that is our wrap-up of all the titles. Oh, no, wait. No, it isn't. One more title is coming our way in 2017. The inaugural UFC Women's Featherweight title goes on the line. UFC 208, very soon, on February the 11th. Who's fighting for it? Nobody knows. So, yeah, this is weird, like having an inaugural title fight, something you really kind of want to build up to and celebrate, and not having anybody confirmed for it. Cyborg, obviously, there's issues there, but she's considered the the featherweight division in women's MMA for a very, very long time. So that's obviously my pick for featherweight champ next year. Tony?
As long as she can stay, I think we have to understand something. She's been subject to controversy with steroids and everything else. The drug test she failed was for a diuretic, which is used to help cut weight. Well, she's not going to have to worry about cutting weight as much, hopefully, in this division that they specifically pretty much made for her. I don't see anybody but Cyborg winning. I don't think she's going to have an issue with any drug tests and everything like that, so I would say Cyborg is one too.
Good stuff. Ben?
Yeah, it depends on you know what's happening with the ban for that specific thing?
No idea. We're all speculating here.
The interesting thing I think is given the previous steroids or previous drug tests, I think they may be a little heavier for the ban. I could very feasibly see them giving her 1 year ban, so I don't think she'll compete this year.
See, I'll tell you, I'll disagree with you for a second on that one. I hear what you're saying, but in the instance of this, there was well-documented controversy about weight cutting. So I think they're going to be a little bit more lenient with that, maybe. In fact, it was a prescription drug. That's the other thing, too. It's a legal drug versus steroids. Yes, these drugs can be used to cover up things, but with her documented publicity for weight cutting, how it almost killed her and all that thing, I think maybe, I could be wrong, I don't think it's going to be here, but I think that might have something to do with it too.
Yeah, very accurate. But yeah, okay, yeah, summarizing, that we're looking forward to a very good year in 2017, I think, in MMA. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up. 2016 was a good one. 2017 is going to be even better. It's been a big one for you, Dr. Tony. You got married, and now you have a child on the way. You're going to be a father in 2017.
Yes, very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, let's end this with: has anybody got any bold predictions for 2017? Mine is Dana White retires. I don't see what he wants to do in the sport now. He's really done everything, and the New York thing, UFC 200, making it that far, these big stars. I think the company need him more than he needs the company, definitely. But maybe he won't retire this year, but I could see somebody sort of entering the sphere, like doing more press conferences and establishing themselves as more of a face of the company. Dr. Sony, do you have a bold prediction for 2017?
The finally awaited super fight will happen. Either 4th of July weekend or Super Bowl Sunday. GSP Anderson Silva.
For real?
And the reason being is because Ronda Rousey out of commission, Brock Lesnar suspended, Pete Van Zandt got destroyed, St. Northcutt got destroyed. Conor McGregor's running the show pretty much as far as faces, as far as people that they need to market for the casual fan. I think they're going to need to pull something out. For us, it doesn't matter. But for other people, I think this is the fight that they wanted. I think the money, it's the only way GSP's coming back is for big payday, and this would be it. Too bad this is about 10 years too late. But it will happen.
That's a wild one. Ben, have you got a bold prediction for 2017?
I think there's going to be a new season of The Ultimate Fighter Celebrity.
Oh, no.
Is given that the UFC branches more mainstream media and with the entertainment with WME and that's exciting it, and looking at closer ties with potentially agents and getting more of the mainstream appeal across, I feel like they're going to do the Ultimate Fighter Celebrities, and you're going to get signing up to something like a 6-week or 12-week where they fight. Or a whole season. People watch it and realise quite how good professional mixed martial artists are, and that you can't do it like that.
Oh, you'd have some like douchey actors and like, oh.
It'd be great. It'd be like Celebrity Death Match, but like real.
Do you think, is it just going to be like MMA fans like Kevin James or something? Yeah.
Joe Rogan
Okay, yeah, that's a good point to end. A very nice, optimistic vision of the future of MMA that's in no way soul sucking and just WME, IMG. Please look after the UFC in 2017. Please don't do this. Okay. That's a bye from me, Adam Real, here in Nottingham, United Kingdom. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll look back on this next year and see how our predictions turned out when we make our 2018 prediction video. Dr. Stoney, any final words?
Nothing. Enjoy 2017. Hopefully it's half as good as 2016.
Good stuff. Ben?
Try and stay optimistic even though the cards come out. Also great. They will get better, things will improve, celebrity deathmatch will be coming soon.
Peace and love, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Jason Statham, UFC celebrity champion. They might have a belt for celebrities. Celebrity division.
The coaches, Seagal and Van Damme.
Oh, please.
Okay.
All over that.
Peace out, Punch Drunk Philosophers. Have a good week.